The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this first hour is Bruce Rosen, and we're going to be talking to Bruce about his book, If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. And just a little bit about Bruce. He's an investment officer at a major financial firm by day, and by night is an award-winning writer. He has been featured in such venues as the San Francisco Chronicle, the Baseball Hall of Fame, and on the BBC with his slice of life pieces titled Diary of a Creative Banker. The father of two sons, he lives in San Francisco, California, and joining me now to talk about If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away is Bruce Rosen. And Bruce, welcome to the X Zone, sir.
Thank you. Very nice to be here, Rob.
Bruce, tell us a little bit about your book and the events that led to you writing it.
I think the most momentous event that led to writing the book, If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away, was a separation from my wife, a wife that I was very close with, and we continue to be very deep friends and really spiritually connected and soulmates, even though the contract isn't eventually came to an end. And well, we're still a very close family, and we all get together when the boys are in town. And so that separation led to an existential moment, sort of a dark night of the soul, if you will, where I'm sitting alone in an apartment for the first time, really being alone since being a college student, and recognizing that I want to make the most of this time, not knowing whether we would get back together or or whether we will or we won't, and how long this period would be. And I wanted to make the most of this time, and I wanted to write the book that I knew I would one day write in my life. And so I made use of that time and began the writing of this book shortly after that separation. It took about 3.5 years to write the book. And as I say, I knew I would one day write a book in my life. The shape and form of the book is different than what I might have imagined, but that was the immediate situation that led to the writing of the book.
Grief is something that everyone goes through in their life, whether it's like yourself losing somebody that you had been with for so long, whether it's changing a job, whether it's the loss of a parent. Do you think that the way that people handle grief differently is what gets them past that emotional loss at that time?
I think there are different ways that we respond to grief. And certainly, as I describe in the book, there's a period of time and certainly a period of mourning when you're numb. And I think that God, or the Great Spirit, if you will, gives us only so much, and the cliche is true. It gives us as much as we can handle, and we can handle only so much emotion. And so I think we become not numb, but slightly paralyzed, sort of in a way that when your tooth is numb, when you go to the dentist and the Novocaine eventually starts to wear off. So over a period of time, that numbness wears off, and you begin to let, we begin to let feelings in and emerge from that grief over time. And of course, if a person is, any person that we've lost that's important to us, is a painful experience.
Sure.
And the deeper that relationship is, I think the more numbness there is in the beginning, and the longer it takes, probably a lifetime of that sort of numbness wearing off and opening up to our feelings, opening up to our memories.
Bruce, I've got to take a commercial break. Please stand by. Bruce Rosen is our special guest, X-Zone Nation. He's the author of If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. www.almarosepublishing.com. We'll be back. Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits, and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. My name is Rob McConnell. Worldwide toll-free 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Bruce F. Rosen is my special guest. We're talking about Bruce's book, If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away, and Bruce's website is www.almarosepublishing.com. Sorry I had to cut you off there, Bruce. The commercial is a hard fix, and I just can't go by it. So let's just do a little bit of a recap that everyone deals with grief in a different way, and the closer the relationship, the harder the grief is.
That's true, and as I was saying, I think we can handle. We're given only so much by the Great Spirit as we can handle, and the numbness occurs that allows us to deal with that kind of grief, and that numbness wears off over time like Novocaine in the dentist's office, and as it wears off, we become more in touch with our feelings, our memories, the pain, the joy, and I think eventually, as you'll see in this book, eventually the joy takes over, and the memories and the feelings and the positive and all of the great moments of being alive, and the part of oneself that is tied to the life of the person that you miss, and their effect on you becomes greater and greater, and we begin to forget. We begin to release ourselves into the greater universe and merge with the energy and the life and the memories of those that we miss, and we take them into ourselves, and we become bigger and more of who we are, and eventually we pass that on to those when we pass on as well, and ultimately it's about grief. Overcoming grief eventually can lead to joy.
Yeah, I remember the words to a song that go, they say that time will heal the sorrow. I guess I'll wait until tomorrow to see if I'll depend on time to heal these aching wounds of mine.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
And certainly that's the case in the writing of this book. I think in a lot of ways it was cathartic, but in other ways it was allowing the memories to become a bigger part of who I am, and to just become incorporate the people and that I've missed, not only my mom but others as well.
Bruce, comparing your book to Eat, Pray, Love, you call yourself a tour guide on this journey of, and this is a quote, what it means to be alive. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I would. We're all human beings, and we all go through highs and lows, and while we experience our highs and lows, and our journeys and our travels are all unique to each of us, there are a lot of similarities, and I think that in writing this book, there's certainly many journeys that I've taken, journeys of the soul and journeys of the spirit and journeys of life and experiences. And there's been love, there's been loss, there's been grief, there's been overcoming. There are many themes. Overcoming, forgiving, but not forgetting an abusive father. The deep love for a mother and her effect on me, the parenting of young men and learning how to let go, the separation and severance of a deep marriage, the journeys and travels and experiences to Costa Rica when I was on a merchant marine ship, or hopping freight trains when I was 16 across the United States. Wow. Hitchhiking and hopping freights, losing in a very tragic way a couple of friends during very formative years in my life in my late teens. I mean, many experiences, many themes occur in this book, and so I write about it as I lived it as consciously as I could. I try to excuse me. There are many memories that are attached to these that I bring into my life. And there are the scents, the sounds, the fragrances, the moments, the places, and I think in being as truthful and honest as I can, and trying to trying to be as true as I can to the present person that I am, I become as true as I can to the person I was, and I think the reader will experience these feelings and these emotions in their own deepest ways and reflect upon their own journeys. And I ask a lot of questions, philosophical questions about why things happen the way they do, and whether there's a certain amount of fate involved, or determinism, and what our choices are, and what are the limitations to our choices. So I ask a lot of questions about life, and perhaps I'm asking a lot of questions for other people to ask themselves as they re-experience their own lives and their own journeys as they take the journey of my book. So in a way, I'm on a journey. I'm describing the journey. The writing of the book was a journey, but I'm describing the whole journey that I experienced, and many different experiences. And I think that in that sense, I'm a tour guide. I'm bringing people on a tour in the deepest possible way of my experiences, and hopefully they will encounter themselves, trust themselves, look at themselves, perhaps open themselves up to different ways of seeing their own experience.
Exonation, Bruce Rosen is my special guest this hour. He's the author of If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. And his website is www.almarosepublishing.com. Bruce, you say your book is about joy, the memory of joy, the joy we carry with us. Why is that?
There's an article. Oh, let me refer you to perhaps an article that I wrote. And shortly after writing this book, I was asked to write an article for, and then I'll summarize, I'll go into a little deeper. But I was asked to write an article for Personal Excellence magazine, an international magazine. And they'd read the book and they were taken with it. And they wanted me to summarize, if I could, in an article for them, what was the one of the key themes. So as sort of a companion piece to that book, almost a sort of a primer, if you will, I wrote a piece for Personal Excellence called "Finding Joy Amid Life's Lessons," and I broke it down into 6 different messages that I sort of extrapolate from the book, and I'll go into a little deeper after this. But number 1, I said, let joy in. Ultimately, happiness isn't a goal to be met. Happiness finds you if you let it in. You can't obtain it like a mere material possession or find it in any external object. It washes over you when you recognize that you're doing the best you can to live an honest life and make wise choices, when you allow yourself to love yourself. That's number 1. Number 2, give and receive gracefully. You may not know where the next job or opportunity will come from, but when you let go of your own control of the situation, when you stop trying to manipulate everything in your power, it somehow arrives just in time. Everything is always just in time. Number 3, repent, learn, let go of regret and guilt, and move on. Clearly life is hard, and you must experience the consequences of your actions. Often we do not choose well and regret the effects of these actions. Perhaps an affair wreaked havoc on a marriage, and all of this has parties suffering. There's regret and guilt over the action that did the damage. You now recognize that you should have held yourself to a higher standard. All of this. But communicate until the magic takes over and the joy returns. If the marriage can't be saved, if the broken promise has caused it to end, then move on and learn. And basically the message is we're an imperfect being with an eternal soul. There's much to learn. But if you dwell on guilt and regret, it makes you ill. It prevents you from living fully. It prevents you from letting joy in. Realize that we're limited, that we're imperfect, that we're human, that we're mortal. We do the best we can, and we move on. Number 4, do what you love, even in small ways, in any way possible. And I talk about music in this book as being magical. Music allows us to experience joy in its deepest ways. Music ties us to who we are and our feelings and our emotions. There's so many ways to, without spending a nickel, to just turn on the music that we love and allow ourselves to go back in time. Or it may be a sporting event. You're in Canada, and I was born in Canada, and I started playing ice hockey at a young age. And,
I understand that, yeah. And you were born in Toronto.
I moved to California, at a young age, but continued playing hockey. And I still love hockey, and every time I go to a hockey game or watch one on TV or whatever, there's great joy for me. So sports, whatever we love to do or watch, allow ourselves to do it. Number 5, laugh more. You're a child when you're young, but you're also a child when you were in your 20s and 30s, 70s and 80s and beyond, and your inner child wants to laugh. And then the final one I talk about here is let go of your cares and worries.
Yeah.
We take our cares and worries seriously, but you also need to take yourself lightly enough to be kind and gentle enough with yourself to let them go. So these are some of the themes about finding joy that occur in the book, and ultimately the book is about joy, the joy we can discover, the joy that is our birthright, the joy that is available to us. It's part of being alive in this universe, and we can recover that. We can rediscover it, and these 6 steps certainly will help you. But
ultimately, the decision is yours if you want to have a life filled with joy or not.
Pardon me?
I said ultimately, the decision to have a life full of joy is yours and yours alone.
Exactly. And there are many things that that get in the way of it. I mean, there's the stress of the day, there's the obligations, and as our children get older and our parents get older, and we want to take care of our parents if they need help, if we can, we want to help our children, our siblings. We have lots of responsibilities. There's the traffic noise, the incessant emails and text messages that get in the way. But you're right, ultimately, it's our choice, and we have the ability to overcome our stresses and really experience joy.
Bruce, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, Bruce F. Rosen is our special guest. He's the author of If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away, and his website is www.almarosepublishing.com. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get back to our guest of this hour, Bruce Rosen, I'm going to be the Master of Ceremonies at the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo next weekend, the 25th to the 27th at the International Center in Toronto, Ontario. It's at 6900 Mississauga Road, and we're going to be there for 2 days. We're going to be handing out digital copies of the X Chronicles newspaper, some of our most remembered interviews, videos. All you have to do is drop by our booth and say, can we please get a copy of the digital DVD that you guys are handing out? It's that simple. And we're looking forward to meeting a lot of our members of the X-Zone Nation who are coming all the way from, we've got emails from people who are coming as far as Georgia to come up to this event to see us and to spend some time with Chandler Armstrong and the other people of the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo. So once again, I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. Drop by our booth and say hi. And if you'd like more information, www.bodysoulspiritexpo.com. Bruce Rosen is my guest this hour, Exonation. We're talking about Bruce's book, If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. And the website is www.almarosepublishing.com. Bruce, I understand to help your family, to help support your family, your psychic mother read for celebrities like Marlon Brando and helped rich people and poor people alike. Now, how did her advice help you and others in their lives?
Oh, she was amazing, and she helped many, many, many people. She discovered her gift at a very, very young age, and excuse me.
Sure.
She discovered her gift at a very, very young age, and I don't know if I'll try to answer the question. It's so easy to go back and tell you how her gift developed and all of that, and that's a whole story in itself. But yes, indeed, she was deeply psychic, but not. She read teacups. She read for the very poor and indigent that couldn't afford a reading, and she read for the very rich and famous, including Marlon Brando. And there's a fun little vignette I'll tell you about with Marlon Brando, and then I'll answer the question.
Sure.
I had come home from college in California, Santa Barbara, California, where was studying philosophy at UC Santa Barbara when in my early 20s, and it was winter break, and I drove home, 90 minutes up the coast. Mm-hmm. That was where Santa Barbara was, and I came home, and I immediately went out with some friends. We had some beers and met up with my old friends, and I came home a little bit around 11:30, 12 that night. My mom was on the phone. I hadn't seen her in a month or two, and she was in this deeply involved in this conversation on the phone, and she didn't ignore me. She just waved at me and smiled, but then went immediately back to the conversation, and very, very engrossed. And she was chuckling and laughing, and clearly the conversation was coming to an concluding. But when I wanted to talk to her, she pushed me away with her hand. I can't talk to you now. So maybe 10, 15 minutes later, the conversation ended, and I said, Mom, what's up? I mean, that was obviously an important conversation. Are you certainly having fun on it? And she said, well, I just got off the phone with Marlon Brando. And I said, Marlon Brando, really? And she said, yeah, I've been reading Marlon Brando for some time now. He's been to the house, and I had been out to his place, but mainly our readings are taking place over the phone. He's having, there's a woman that he likes, and he's not having an easy time with it. And he said, and she told me, but he just asked me out on a date. And I said, are you kidding? She said, no, Marlon Brando asked me out on a date. And I said, well, what did you tell him? What are you going to do? And she just laughed it off and said, no. My mom at this point was my father had left and she was divorced. And she said, of course I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to do that. I'm not going to go out with Marlon Brando. I'm going to keep it keep it professional. And that was a little vignette. There were many other big stars and celebrities and cases that she solved and helped solve. But as it relates particularly to me, an incredible moment occurred when I was in college. I was actually in graduate school. I'd already moved to San Francisco. My mom lived in Southern California in the desert area, so sort of high desert, just north of Los Angeles. And at this point in my life, I really wanted to meet somebody. I was ready to fall in love. It wasn't I felt like it was around the corner, but I was dating people, and I just really wanted to settle down, and I felt the time was right, and I wanted to meet that special person. So we go out in the back patio on a beautiful early summer day, beautiful blue skies. She had a house with a view of the mountains, and it was lovely. And we sit down in the backyard, and she gives me a tea leaf reading. And her normal process of doing that was to drink the tea, put the cup down, twirl it 3 times, and make a wish. And so it's what she would tell me, or everybody, every time there was a reading, twirl it 3 times and make a wish. And I made that wish. She took the cup. She would proceed to hit the cup against her palm, knocking out tea leaves, and whatever leaves would remain would be the images and visions and symbols that she would see. And she said to me, Bruce, I know you don't need to tell me. I see it so clearly. Your wish is to fall in love, and your wish is to be in love and to meet the person. And she said, it's going to happen very soon. She said, and she pointed at the cup. She said, look, there are hearts and there are cupids everywhere. I said, she pointed them out to me in the leaves, and I saw them. And she says, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to be able to find this person, she said to me. She is going to find you. She said, she'll find you, and you just may as well not try, because it's going to happen. It'll happen sometime soon. I can't give you a date, but it's coming. And just let go, because it's going to find you. I said, okay. And I said, please describe her for me. I said, what does she look like? She said she'll have light complexion and blue or green eyes, and she'll have blondish hair. And her father, she proceeded to tell me her father would be very quiet and intelligent, but her father would take to you very well, and eventually would really grow to love you. And And she said, the girl is different than you, different kind of mind, very scientific mind. She said that she's every bit as intelligent as you, which was a big compliment to the girl because my mom always thought I was,
Right.
her brilliant son. So I said, wow, okay. I said, Mom, can you give me a name? Does a name come to you? And she points out in the cup the name, and she shows me clearly. She points out the name Sue, and this is in the book, this story, S-U-E. I said, okay, well, I'm dating a girl named Suzanne, but I don't think I'm in love with her, and she's dark complected. She says, no, that's not her. You haven't met her yet. Her name is Sue. And I can tell you that, and this is what she looks like, and that's it. I can't dwell on it anymore, and that was and she put the cup down and asked me if I had any other questions. I said maybe a couple other little details, but that was it. So so during the course of this, when I had come down to to L.A. to see my mom, I had moved to San Francisco with a good friend of mine that was a musician. Excuse me. And we had shared the same telephone. He was a grad student in music. He wanted to develop his music business, so he went ahead and kept the phone line that we had had for himself and installed a new one for me with a different phone number that I hadn't used yet. So a couple of days later, I go back up to San Francisco. I get home mid-afternoon. I'm hanging out, getting ready to go get something to eat down, on the street. Haight Street, by the way, just above Haight Street in San Francisco. And I'm talking to my friend, and the new phone rings. And this is the first call I'd ever answered on this new phone. And there was a call from this very lovely, sweet-sounding young lady asking for if Jamie is there. One second. I said, there's no Jamie here. I don't know a Jamie, but this sounds long distance. You've got the wrong number, but I said, this sounds long distance, and you sound very lovely, and you sound quite sweet. And she chuckled and laughed, and we talked a bit. I asked where she was from. She was from Denver, Colorado, and we continued to talk, and she didn't want to get off the phone, and I didn't want to get off the phone. There was this connection. And horse.
Okay.
And so there was this nice connection. Neither of us wanted to get off the phone. And I asked her name, and she told me her name was Sue. Now, I must say, did I think this was the Sue? Absolutely not. I wasn't about to think, okay, I just met the one. But did I think this was an incredible coincidence? Absolutely. So we continued to talk. She sent me her picture, and with a very lovely note. And I sent her a picture. It wasn't the greatest picture. It was taken one of those little, phone booths, those little booths at the time. It was not the greatest picture. Mm-hmm. And I sent her a note. And when I looked at her picture, it was this picture that had been taken in a garden in Florence, Italy. I looked at her face. I looked at her. I looked into her eyes in the picture. And I absolutely knew instantly that this is the person that I would one day marry. I knew it. The letters that we wrote to each other are in this book, those first letters, and after we had met on the phone. And indeed, her name was Sue. Indeed, she had light hair. Indeed, she had blue eyes. Indeed, she was from a scientific background.
Wow.
Indeed, her father grew to love me. And indeed, we have two lovely, creative, talented young men as a result of this. And that's certainly, I mean, I'd always believed in that my mom's abilities, and she told me many things before. But when that happened, and she hit it with the name Sue and everything else, it was like, okay, well, this is there's just no way to ever doubt anything.
I guess not. I guess not. Do you believe in fate?
I do. I believe that that sometimes that we have lots of choices. Mm-hmm. I've spent a lot of time trying to reconcile fate with free will, and I try to do so in this book. But We have choices, and we can make choices, and oftentimes I think the best choices are going to lead us to our destiny or our fate, and the lesser choices or the poorer choices perhaps take us away from our potential and make it require much more time to reach it. Ultimately, though, we have choice, and we may not achieve what we want to achieve in this life if we don't make the right choices. But ultimately, I think one can say, well, we were fated to make the wrong choices, and we were fated to make the right choices. I do believe in fate. I believe there are certain situations where we think we have choice, but the other choices just simply seem irrelevant, and there's one clear choice, and we should take it. One of the things that my mom did was help people make those choices to see where the poor choices would lead and where the good choices would lead, perhaps help people reach their fate.
So she was kind of a tugboat captain on the river of fate, guiding people.
Yes, she was, and she was also she just her energy. People wanted to be around her because they just felt like they felt more healthy. They felt that they, that they were healing, not necessarily healed, but healing whenever they were around her, and really amazing person.
Certainly sounds like an amazing lady. You and I have to take our final break, my new friend. Please stand by, Bruce. Bruce F. Rosen is my guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. He's the author of If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. His website is www.almarosepublishing.com. That's www.almarosepublishing.com. The X-Zone is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction, and fiction, 9 times out of 10, is reality. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from the studios of Relmar McConnell Media Company in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. You might be listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, Star Cable, or any of our affiliates worldwide. I'll be back on the other side of this break with Bruce Rosen as we continue here in the X-Zone. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
19 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world.
One 1-800-610-7035. Bruce Rosen is my guest this hour. He's the author of If You Ever Need Me, I Won't Be Far Away. Bruce, it's been great having you with us this hour. We're going to have to have you back on because we still have so much to talk about. But I'd like to ask you this question, Bruce. You went through a painful breakup after 25 years of marriage. What advice do you have for others struggling with separation?
My advice would be to communicate, to give it every possibility to come back together, to try to heal the wounds, to try to heal oneself, to recognize that you can't be the medicine for the other person and they can't be your medicine either, but to be within yourself and to recognize that perhaps things happen for a reason, that we are imperfect, we sometimes make imperfect choices, and sometimes those imperfect choices are also meant to be. And that we must do all we can to give it everything we've got, but to recognize when we have done that, and that it just can't seem to come back in the same way or in the same place or in the shape or in the same form, and that we're no longer standing in the same places that we were previously, and to be able to, as I say in that piece on joy, let go of regret and move on, and recognize that there's a lot more in store. But also to recognize that we shouldn't do that and move on until we've given it all we can. But recognize when we have given it all we can.
Bruce, we've got about 40 seconds left. What message would you like to leave with the X-Zone Nation tonight?
I would say that joy is our birthright as human beings on this planet. It's there for us. And despite all of the obstacles out there, don't let the obstacles become what life's about. Learn that we can overcome those obstacles and find joy within ourselves, joy in learn to laugh, learn to do the things we love to do. And don't be afraid to if you're a guy, don't feel that you have to be so strong that you can't let other people into your life, other friends, share your feelings. I wish we had more time, but there's a moment in the book where I'm swimming across. I almost drowned. I'm swimming to an island in the middle of the Colorado River, and I reach out. My friend had already made it to the island that we were all trying to swim to, and I said, please, I can't make it. I can't make it. Had I tried to press on and make it, I might not have made it. And this friend and my brother swam at their fastest and came out and helped me make it to the shore. And so I think that's a metaphor.
Bruce, I hate to do this, but we have to say so long for now. We'll have you back on in the very near future. Take care of yourself, Bruce. X-Zone Nation, Bruce Rosen has been my guest. www.almarosepublishing.com. We'll be back after the news at 6.5 minutes past the hour. Don't go away.